Warriors pregame live brought to you by Comcast Business. Warriors in Memphis, Tennessee to take on the Grizzlies. And last night was 1-2 forget. It was ugly. 19-point first quarter, fell behind by 14 points. And then in the fourth quarter, it was all Zion Williamson and Sadiq Bey. You see the numbers right there. 39 points in the first half, 31% shooting in that first half. That's coming off a game Sunday against Denver, in which they scored a season-high 76 points in that first half and made 15 threes. Yeah, they got to wash away that one. 13 turnovers as well in that first half. Here's what Steve Kerr had to say after the game, after they lost to the Pels.
I don't know that down the stretch is what got us. It was just the full, 48 minutes. We had 21 turnovers. We did not execute very well offensively. Spacing was bad. We transition. We had probably 3 potential layups in the first half, and we didn't run. We didn't cut to the rim. We didn't get to the corners. So we just looked a little disjointed. I thought their pressure early, took us out of some stuff. But the game was right there for us. We just couldn't execute well enough. And we, with the injuries we have to play well to win. We have to play well, and I don't think we played well tonight.
Did not play well last night. They dropped a tough one, and we've seen them lose to teams like that all season long. Just 2 games over 500. As we welcome in the Hall of Famer, two-time Emmy Award-winning Warriors Insider here at NBC Sports Bay Area. Monty Poole, let's get your quick thoughts on last night and what happened with the Dubs.
It's hard to say that the Warriors played poorly, but they did. On the other hand, without Steph, without Jimmy, we know that every game is going to be a struggle. They won some games, but 3 times they had to have miraculous comebacks to win some of those games. And so most of the games they've lost. So you figure they're going to play the Pelicans. The Pelicans got a little lift because DeJounte Murray came back. You have a guy who's been down coming back, that gives you a little lift. Zion is a beast. We know that. And so I just thought the Warriors didn't come out to play early, try to catch up late. And we've seen that a few times. Sometimes they can get it done late. This time they couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, they were down 12 after the first quarter. And it puts a lot of pressure on you to try to play perfect basketball down the stretch. And no Steph, no KP, no Al Horford, all the veterans, that margin for error gets much smaller. Now you're missing free throws on top of that. They had 21 turnovers as well. All these things, they really cost the Warriors the game. But it's really bound to starting the game early, trying to create some easier shots. I've seen the Warriors settle for the 3-point shot in a lot of cases, but then also, this is a 3-point heavy team. You still have to find ways when your 3-point shot's not falling like it wasn't in the first half. You got to find ways to mitigate and find some easier shots. On stops, run. This is why Steve Kerr keeps preaching pace. When you can get some easy layups, some of those shots just fall because of momentum.
Yeah, and with that small margin of error, it is important to get off to a good start. Because if you get buried in that first quarter, it's always hard to come back when you don't have that firepower. And you talk about all those missing players, Steph, Jimmy, Porzingis, last night, Horford. The frustrating thing was, they could have got that game. Because, without Steph, without Jimmy, you're talking about guys that create shots for the role players. But last night, they were creating shots. The lack of defense by New Orleans was actually creating shots and yielding shots that average NBA players on a consistent basis should knock down. They missed a lot of wide open shots that I think if they get tonight, they'll knock down.
We'll break it down in just a second here, courtesy of Comcast Business. Every connection counts. And it's the Warriors missing wide open threes. We're going to break it down in just a second. But look at the graphic right here. Warriors shooting went uncontested last night against the Pelicans. Closest defender within 4 to 6 feet. They were 4 of 8 from 2-point range with 3 of 11 from the 3-point line. Closest defender 6+ feet. I'm talking 16 feet, 15 feet, 14 feet. They were 7 of 23. Hall of Famer, break it down.
Well, these are shots. Steve Kerr is one of the greatest coaches in NBA history. He couldn't draw this play up if he took a year. Look at this wide open shot. Now, look, you can't draw a play up to get this shot. If that's presented to Draymond or anyone else on the roster, you have to shoot that and knock it down. If they're going to yield these shots, Monty and Festus, you've got to take them. It doesn't make sense to drive in. Don't take that shot and drive into a contested shot. It doesn't make sense.
It really magnifies these possessions when you miss these shots because the Warriors are 29th in paint scoring. So they don't really go inside. Matter of fact, when they do go inside, it's D'Anthony Melton creating his own shots. There's a few players, I think Gary Payton II, you see some offensive rebounds, but the Warriors rely heavily on the three-point shot. So when they miss them, it kind of throws everything off. And I think for the Warriors, they got to figure out ways to get easier shots. They got guards in the game, and tonight, D'Anthony Melton is out. So it puts a little bit more pressure on guys like Pods and Pat Spencer to get into the paint and be those ball handlers. But they got to find ways. And in those clips, you see those are easy shots those guys should make. But they still got to find ways to get some layups. When these threes aren't falling, there has to be some variety for the Warriors.
You got to ask yourself, too, though, on this roster without Steph, which shooters do you fear on this roster? Not a lot there.
Apparently, New Orleans said 0.
Yeah. Not a lot there. And all those open shots, and there was nobody they were afraid was going to start killing them.
But that's part of the analytical part of the NBA now, where they say a 2-point shot is a bad shot. As to Festus's point, if you're not comfortable shooting that wide open 3, dribble it and shoot a 15-footer or a 10-footer, but shoot an open shot. Do not pass up an open shot and dribble into a contested shot.
Right.
Shout
And
out to Luka Doncic.
Well, and then
We'll have that later.
You talk about the turnovers. Fortunate for the Warriors last night, they had 21 turnovers, but the points off turns were even at 18.
Yeah.
But what it did, it took out the rhythm of those shots because you're coming down so many times and not even getting a shot on goal. So as the game wears on, you're not quite sure where those shots are coming from.
Yeah.
So, if they get those shots tonight, they'll knock them down.
We were just doing the math, though. So of the 45 shots the Warriors got, 39 of those were open. At least defenders were 3 to 6 feet away, and there's 28 shots where the defender was 6 feet away from the guy shooting the basketball. So right now, that's maybe a confidence thing. I don't want to speak on shooting because I wasn't a shooter. I was a dunker. Mully, maybe you could speak to that. But that's something that I would really like to understand. Like maybe it's more pressure when guys are off you.
News alert. It's a big part of basketball. This is the
news
NBA.
alert.
Put the ball in the basket is a big part of the NBA.
Anthony Melton, who you mentioned, Fez, he's out tonight. And Draymond Green will not play the back end of a back-to-back. Remember, he missed Sunday's game due to a back issue. Yesterday, 11-7-6 for Draymond Green in the game back last night. Missed some wide open shots, but played a lot better in the second half. But how does that change things now, Monty, without D'Anthony Melton, who, was playing well offensively, although he wasn't shooting the 3-ball well, just 5 of 20 over his last 2 games from 3, but overall playing solid on both ends of the floor. And, of course, your defensive captain, Draymond Green.
Yeah, Melton is pretty much right now their best offensive impact player. Because he shoots the 3, but not great, but good enough. But he also attacks the rim. He'll go in the paint. Last night, I think he shot 9 free throws. So who else in this roster is going to give you that?
Yep.
And that's the thing. It's like I'm looking at him and going, he knows, A, he's playing for a contract. B, he knows Steph is down. He knows Jimmy's down. So he knows his team needs something. He's saying, I'm going to try and do it. And last night he had 28. Shot not great, but shot okay. So that's going to be missed because you need somebody else to fill that role, and I don't know who that person will be.
He is the leading shot creator for the Warriors without Steph in the game right now.
Yep.
D'Anthony Melton has been doing a great job attacking the other team's defense. He's been a great on-ball defender. He's leading the team right now in steals without Steph in the game. Plus and minus reflects his impact in the game. But offensively, defensively, with him out the game tonight, it's putting more pressure on Pods.
Yeah.
It's putting more pressure on Pat Spencer. These guys now have to carry some of the load of the offense. They have to be the guys creating offense. They have to be the ones creating the pace for the game because he also brings this pace control on makes and misses. He gets the ball. He's going right up there in transition. And then defensively, those guys got to guard the other team's best perimeter offensive player. So now, D'Anthony Melton has really continued to show his role. But one thing I loved is I said to him a few months ago, when you take off on a big man, that's when I know you really got your bounce back and you really got your knee feeling good again because he had the ACL injury. And now he did that last night. It's been really special to watch.
Yeah, I think what they got to focus on tonight without Melton, without Draymond, is keeping those turnovers down because this Memphis Grizzlies team is similar to New Orleans. Yep. They do not protect the paint. There's no shot blocking. So you can attack the paint early, right? Get some points in the paint, and then look to knock down threes. And I think the fact that Al Horford will be back tonight is a huge factor because He's going to knock down open threes.
Yeah, opponents shooting 50% against Memphis in the month of February. In their defensive efficiency, they're 27th in the NBA, so they will give up a lot of points, especially in the paint. Monty, thanks so much, man. Always love having you around.
Monty!
Stick around if you want, man. We got some fun trivia coming up. But first, we're going to look around the wild Western Conference.
We don't get a yeehaw?
Not yet.